From the New York Heritage signature sale, these are the moments when power shifted, identities formed, and history hardened into metal. In 1841, Württemberg paused to celebrate stability. 25 years earlier, Wilhelm I had taken the throne of a kingdom that was reshaped by the Napoleonic Age. What followed was reform. Agricultural modernization, constitutional balance, and careful statecraft in a restless German landscape. This gold 4-ducat was struck to mark the silver jubilee of his reign. An allegorical, single-year type, it elevates the moment beyond portraiture into symbolism. Today graded by NGC as MS63+, when its turn came to shine, it managed to raise $12,810 at auction. In the thin air of Santiago, a young republic sought symbolism equal to its ambition. Chile had broken from Spain, but independence required more than mere victory. It required identity. This 1819 over-8 overdate belongs to those formative years. Well struck with legends clear and the central volcano and pillars essentially complete. This example preserves the type's bold assertion of an independent nation. Graded by NGC as MS61, when it crossed the auction blocks, it sold for $14,030. At the donations of Alexandria, Cleopatra and Marc Antony staged a spectacle meant to redraw the map. Before a gathered court, they distributed kingdoms and territories to their children and styled themselves as rulers not merely of Egypt, but of a revived Hellenistic world. Rome, meanwhile, watched with suspicion. This denarius stands as their declaration. Cleopatra appears diameded, styled as Regina Regnum Filiorum Regum, Queen of Kings and of the Children of Kings. It is partnership and provocation struck into silver, graded by NGC Ancients as choice extremely fine, and realized $14,640 at auction. In 1792, Denmark did what no other European colonial power had yet dared to do. It announced the abolition of its transatlantic slave trade. The decree would not take effect until 1803, and slavery itself would persist in the Dutch West Indies until at least 1848. But the declaration still mattered. It marked the first formal renunciation of the trade by a European empire. It stands at a difficult crossroads in history, when empire acknowledged moral pressure while still entangled in the institution itself. This somber medal was graded as AU details and sold for $15,860. In 1772, the Admiralty sent James Cook back into the Pacific, not to claim new territory, strictly speaking, but to answer a question that had haunted European geographers for centuries. Did a great southern continent exist? The HMS Resolution and Adventure sailed in search of this phantom continent, carrying the instruments of enlightenment and science into waters that few Europeans had ever been able to see. This medal was commissioned to mark that departure, graded by NGC as MS60, and is likely a trial strike. It was sold for $19,520. Federico II Gonzaga ruled a small but ambitious court in early 16th century Mantua, balancing imperial favor and Italian rivalries. On this gold scudo d'oro, Christ rises from the sepulchre, the instruments of the Passion cast aside above, a declaration of both triumph, redemption, and rightful authority. This is not generic heraldry, but instead theology as a tool of statecraft. Struck between 1519 and 1540, this is an exceptionally rare relic of Italian numismatics, graded by NGC as MS62 and sold at auction for $19,520. By 1830, the East India Company was no longer merely trading in Bengal. It effectively governed, and Calcutta was an imperial capital in all but name, its mint operating with institutional confidence and territorial authority. The mohur was the instrument of that authority. A true proof example remains exceedingly elusive, though. This Proof 63 cameo example from PCGS is a rare survivor of that distant history. At auction, it raised a total of $23,180 by final call. In 1763, Europe exhaled. The 7 Years' War had redrawn maps and drained treasuries. But Maria Theresa's realms endured. This original thaler was more than currency. It was a statement of continuity from a ruler who had fought to secure her inheritance against a continent of rivals. The Maria Theresa thaler that most collectors know is the 1780, perpetually restruck. But this 1763 is different. A 1763 thaler is not a part of that later restrike tradition. It is a genuine period issue struck during Maria Theresa's lifetime, in the immediate aftermath of the 7 Years' War. It belongs to the monetary system of the Habsburg state. This luminous example is graded by PCGS as MS63 and saw a closing price at auction of $23,180. In 1808, the Portuguese court arrived in Rio de Janeiro as refugees. Napoleon had driven them from Lisbon. Armies had to be paid, a capital re-established, and Brazil was no longer just a colony but the seat of empire, and money was urgently needed. The quickest solution lay in silver already circulating in the Spanish 8 reales coin. Valued at 750 reais in Brazil, they were seized, counterstamped, and elevated to 960 reais, creating value by force of royal decree. Among these, a Minas stamp on a Mexican pillar dollar is a rarity within Brazilian silver. Even more intriguing, though, is that this is a swapped stamping, with the obverse counterstamp applied to the reverse of the host coin. This example is graded as XF40 by NGC, and when it was under the auctioneer's gavel, it managed to sell for $31,720. By 1772, the Spanish Empire still measured its strength in gold. From Mexico to Manila, commerce moved on the back of the escudos, the great onza that carried royal authority across oceans. Under Charles III, the great reformer and architect of Bourbon revival, its gold coins became the empire's calling card. In the interceding 2.5 centuries, this piece from the Madrid Mint remains virtually untouched. Graded today as MS62 Plus from NGC, it realized $48,800 at auction. In the winter of 1597, the Dutch revolt needed proof that Spain could be beaten. At Ternhout, Prince Maurits delivered exactly that. His swift, disciplined assault shattered a Spanish force and restored confidence to a fragile republic, still fighting for its survival. This broad, medallic 2-ducaton celebrates that victory. Around the reverse, 17 provincial shields form a heraldic ring of solidarity, each struck with unusual clarity rarity for this period. The finest known at PCGS at a grade of MS62, this monumental issue was sold at auction for $51,240. Subscribe to WNN and feel free to watch another video about fascinating world coins right here next. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.